Welcome back, everyone. This is MandoAllDay, back with another video. And in this video, I'll be doing an overview of Batman White Knight, the deluxe edition hardcover. I'll be talking about a little bit of the story, the art, and of course, if it's worth your purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to know how to support the channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So let's take a look at the front of the dust jacket, the spine, the back. Show you a full spread image of the dust jacket. Alright, put it to the side. Front of the book. The spine. The black label. The back. And I'll show you a full spread image of the art. Alright. Now let's take a look at what's inside. What is this book about? So the book starts off with Batman chasing Joker. Batman captures Joker and it makes Joker swallow some pills, which I'll talk about in a bit why that's important. Once Joker gets out of hospital, he's fully recovered. Joker now is sane and goes by the name of Jack Napier. Now that Jack, or Joker, is cured, I guess you can say, he decides to save Gotham City by eliminating the true villains of Gotham itself, which is the Gotham PD and Batman. The story progresses, and someone of Joker's past comes back and wants Joker back. And so this person decides to do something and go above and beyond to bring back Joker and turn Jack into Joker again. And that is the gist of this particular story. I know it's very vague because I want to be very vague. With that said, I absolutely love this book. And fun little fact, this is actually one of the first books I've actually read when I began reading into comics. And this is the book that actually hooked me into comics. And man, this book, it is fantastic. First of all, what I like about the book is the story itself. The story is an Elseworld story, so keep that in mind. But it is an Elseworld story and shows really how Batman is a villain. I mean, there's parts on here of the book where Batman is just brute force, property damage, physical abuse, trauma. Like, he is unchained and just ruthless. Now, as I mentioned, I was talking about the story. He makes Joker swallow some pills. I kid you not, Batman is punching the shit out of him, and he forces some pills onto the Joker, which turn him into sane or cured, as they say here in this book. Number two, what I like about this book is going to be the writing. The writing is fantastic. And what I like about it is you start believing Joker or Jack. Because there's some things on here that Jack says to where you're like, you know what? He does kind of have a point. Because Batman does a lot of property damage. He talks about how Gotham PD is corrupt, that you don't need Gotham anymore, trust me, and the fact that I will save Gotham by itself. And he starts showing how Gotham PD is corrupt. Also, too, how, what about the actions for Batman? All the damage he's done, the property damage. And early on in the book where there's one part of the story, it's very, very quick and short, but there's a security guard that's trying to help Batman, and Batman just punches this guy for no reason. And so Sean Murphy does a fantastic job to where you're starting to believe Joker or Jack. You start to be like, you know what, maybe Batman is the villain in this particular story, Elseworld story. And I gotta say, it hooks you in, and that's what hooked me in. Now, one thing I want to talk about this now, before I actually get lost and really get into this whole overview, is that this is not really like a Batman with a lot of action, so keep that in mind. So if you're going into this book thinking, oh, it's going to be a lot of action, a lot of fight scenes and so forth, it's actually not. There are some fight scenes, don't get me wrong, there's some fight scenes, but for the most part though, it's going to be more of a character-driven, story-driven, so keep that in mind. The third part I like about this book is going to be the character development between all characters. Talking about Batman, Joker, Harley Quinn, Nightwing, Barbara Gordon, Jim Gordon, Gotham itself, the people, like the citizens of Gotham, how they're like, they want to believe Batman because they trust Batman because he's done so much good for Gotham itself. But at the same time, what Jack is saying, or Joker is saying, it is kind of true. Like, he's doing a lot of damage. And I don't want to say too much of how Jack or Joker really reveals how Batman is a villain, but it is very interesting, and I kid you not, you're going to be like me. You're going to be like, well, Joker or Jack does have a point in this part. He does have a point in this, and they show it. And so you start really thinking like, okay, is Batman really a villain or not? And you start questioning about that. And that's what I like about this book, is you start looking Batman differently in this particular book. I say this because it's an Elseworld story, so keep that in mind. Also, there are some twists and turns here and there, and definitely some surprises, which I'm not going to say what, but keep that in mind. I'm telling you, it is a fantastic book. Writing is amazing in this book, but again, I want to make it clear, this is not really like an action-packed Batman. Yes, there is some action here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be more story and character-driven. I want to make that clear and emphasize that, because I don't want people to buy this book and then be like, wait a minute, how come there's just, this is kind of boring. So keep that in mind. Paper quality is a glossy paper, so you know me with glossy paper. I love it, so yes, thumbs up for me because of the glossy paper. Do you need to have prior knowledge? No, not really. You can just start reading this book. You'll be perfectly fine. The only prior knowledge you need is just going to be the fact that this is an Elseworld story, so should be good to go. Pacing is about average. Like I said, this is more of a character-driven, story-driven book. And so the pacing does dip every now and then from like below average. But for the most part, it's going to be average. Towards the end of the book and the climax of the story, it does pick up. But for the most part, it's going to be average. The art, I really like this art style. Similar to the Batman Beyond one, which I did about a couple weeks ago. It's present on here. The art's good, very dirty and grimy, but also has like a retro look. There's even a car here that looks like a Honda CRX, so if you catch that, let me know. Overall, though, what I think about this book, fantastic book, man. Like I said early in the video, this is the book that hooked me into comics. When I started reading comics, I was a bit lost. I didn't know where to start, but a lot of people said, get this book, and they were 100% correct. I bought this book, and I was hooked. By the end of this book, I just want more, and luckily, there was another book called Batman Curse of the White Knight, and shortly after that, it's going to be the Harley Quinn. And yes, we'll be doing an overview of those books. So overall, what do I give this book? Easily a thumbs up for me. Once again, the story is really unique and different. Again, this is Elseworld story, so keep that in mind, because there's a lot of origins which is different. I'll give you one hint. The first Robin is not Dick Grayson, it's going to be Jason Todd. So it is different than your traditional history of Batman, so keep that in mind. But the story is good. The writing is fantastic. The art, it's different but unique and good. Put it all together into one book. Can't go wrong with it. So once again, what I would give Batman the White Knight hardcover deluxe edition, easily a thumbs up for me. Definitely recommend getting this book. If you're into the whole Batman Beyond and you like the Batman Beyond story, get this book. This is the book that started it off, and this is the book that you definitely want to read because it connects so much to the Batman Beyond book or story that I did. So once again, I give Batman White Knight thumbs up for me. Let me know what you guys think. Have you read this book? Do you plan on reading this book? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not only support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. This concludes an overview of Batman the White Knight, the deluxe edition hardcover, and on to the next one.